even on that note, me coming into this space and her being here, it's kind of a big deal. I know we've been playing it cool, but this is kind of a big deal. We're also going to share with you guys something that we've been working on. Before we get into that, would you like some tea?
Yes.
Yes.
I would love some tea.
I would love some tea. What do you look?
Oh yeah, of course. Let's get into it. Let's get into it.
I don't know if they can see this. Mine is actually.
I don't think they can.
Let me just talk to you like this. It may still be a little bit hot. The rock sugar melted a little bit in that joint too. So I'm gonna pour you up.
See what those nigga hands are.
What we got going on? Hold on, we gonna have to toast up.
I'm so hyped.
Welcome back to Community Garden. Today, as always, we're connecting a dot with a dope individual. So today on the Community Garden, we have an entrepreneur. We have a botanical genius, I would say. She knows what she's doing with the plants. She knows what she's doing with the people. Today on the Community Garden, we have the Sharon.
Well, thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you for inviting me.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you for inviting us into this space. Today looks a little bit different. Typically, we're in the green room, like at my house, but today we're in a special place. Today we're at Plant People, which is your business and your baby, really, right? I'm excited to be here. Thank you for inviting us into this space.
Yeah, absolutely. So it is my space and business, as well as my daughter, Amma, who's obviously not here. Today I think we only have enough room for 2 people.
This is all right.
Yeah, we only have enough room for 2 people, but she's here in spirit. Yes.
So before we get into what this space means and where you are in your entrepreneur journey, may I pour you up some tea?
Absolutely. What kind of tea do we have?
So today we have a hibiscus and spearmint tea.
Okay.
All right. Been steeping for a little bit, and I'm gonna toast up to this episode in this great connection. Thank you.
Thank you. Delicious.
Thank you. I used to buy a lot of like tea for the show, and now I started like maybe I'll just get the ingredients, and it's probably a little bit cheaper anyway, and give a more, I guess, a fuller experience. Can personalize it myself. But we're not talking about my tea love today. We're talking about planting people in this business. I've known you for maybe about a year now, a little bit over a year. And when I came in, when I saw this shop, actually, I think I was just looking up plant shops. I had moved up to Darby, and I was looking up plant shops around me. And this was the first one that popped up. And I'm going through the pictures, and I'm seeing black faces. I'm like, well, hold on. I know this neighborhood. This is good. And there's a lot of black faces. So then I go to Instagram, I type in a name, and I'm like, wow, okay, this is a black woman. And her daughter? What is this? So then I get the boys in the car, and we come and we visit, and just walking into the space felt like, it just felt right. Somebody that loves plants, just walk into a plant shop that is typically in our space, a lot of other people own. It felt great walking into this one. Why do you own a plant shop? Why is that something that you now are in position to do?
Right. Yeah. So let me go back to that comment you made about going into plant shops and how a lot of them really don't look like people like us.
Yeah.
And that is very true. During the pandemic, that was one of the things that I did a lot, was visit a lot of plant shops, because that was one of the businesses that was still open and somewhat seemed like it was an essential business.
Yeah.
One thing that I quickly learned is that just because you're into plants does not mean that you're into people.
No.
And so,
Not the same thing.
right, not the same thing. thing. And mind you, we have been going through this pandemic, but to me, plants are one of those things that brought us joy. During the pandemic, both Amma and I just found ourselves mostly being in the garden. At that time, we had probably about 4 gardens, the 2 gardens at our home and then 2 other community gardens, and just really, really just pouring into our house plants. And we wanted to show other people and share with other people what this love for plants did for us, emotionally, spiritually, physically. I mean, mentally, it did a lot to give us that opportunity to just really plant, support, and see things grow, which is what we really all need in our lives.
Especially in this time, right? Where it's like so much sadness and death is around us, especially as Black people living in our communities. It's really dope to see things grow.
Yeah, and so we wanted to share that with community, and so we were very intentioned by coming to a community that again looked like us, and just understanding that we too needed to have nice things that we could come to within our own communities, because so many of these plant shops and nurseries are out in the suburbs.
Yeah,
they're out in the suburbs. Many of them are far, and so we wanted it to be in a community where people can just walk, to us, drive to us, catch the bus to us. And not only that, but in a place where we can also just help people reach some of their needs, especially when it came to wellness. So yes, we specialize in plants, but we also specialize in plant medicine to help people reach their wellness goals.
Well, I think is the key of not just offering plants, but offering other wellness products as well. I think it paints an overall holistic picture of what the brand, the company is about. Because, as you said, it's about helping people reach their wellness goals. So why was that important to you to help us? Because a lot of us, we find that nice little space and we stay in there. Like, you could have just stayed in your garden and just tended to what you already had. Why was it important for you to also help people?
Right. Yeah. I mean, I'm about, to my knowledge, 5-6 generations into plant medicine.
Wow.
So the same person that delivered my grandmother, her great grandmother was a plant medicine woman. And so my mom took that on as a practitioner, as a nurse. She took plant medicine on in her life. So earlier on in my life, that's all I knew was plant medicine. Even though my mom was in a pharmaceutical medical field, the first go-to was not a pharmaceutical or a commercial medicine. It was a tea. It was a tincture. It was something like that. And so that, I felt, was the only way that I really knew how to live and raising my children like that. So not only on plant medicine, but also plant-based. My children were raised and born on plant-based nutrition. So when I say that we are into plants, we are really into plants. So we are like planty as hell. Like, that's what we do. So we take care of plants. We let the plants take care of us. We take care of the plants. It's a reciprocal relationship. It's not like, I always wondered, like, okay, you can love these animals, but then you can turn around and eat something from the same species. So, but that's a whole nother discussion. That's a whole nother discussion. But anyway, it's about making these connections, because just as much as these plants need us, we need these plants, because without the plant world, we would not be able to breathe.
That's huge, and it's absolutely true. I think there's a Y'all, as you guys continue to grow with me, you guys will also learn that I'm trying to grow vocabulary wise. But it's a symbiotic, symbiosis.
You said it.
Yeah.
Right.
There's a connection that we have with nature that is unmatched. It doesn't matter. No amount of chemicals or pharmaceuticals or anything can really serve the body the way plants can. I mean, because I do truly believe creativity in nature is our innate right, is our birthright, is what we're born into, to utilize, to be able to live a better life. But a lot of people in our communities, especially like being in this space where you are, a lot of people in our communities don't really understand that because we're fed all the other things to keep us feeding the machine. So it's great that you're here and offering those services to anyone who is willing to walk in and learn, to understand that you don't need an Advil if you have a. Look, I'll tell you, okay. I was here earlier this week, I think like Sunday, and she was showing me some of the wellness products that she have, because you, as well as your husband, you guys have a company that you guys been doing wellness,
Green
natural
Dandelion, Green Dandelion marketing and sales.
They've been doing it for some time, so I'm like, okay, I can trust this woman. And I've been dealing, of course, with anxiety, and just kind of like stress, but I've never really tried the natural route. And you gave me something that is like a pump that you do. And I'm not gonna lie, like I since then, you gave it to me on Sunday, I think the bottle was empty. I don't want to sound like it was a small bottle. It wasn't like, you know what I mean, I ain't got a problem with nothing. But I'm just to show that like it really works. Like, and that is so, like, it's kind of like world changing, because you understand, like, I don't really need the stuff that they're feeding to. There's other options, and you guys offer those other options, and I think that's a beautiful thing.
Right, and that's the key. It's just really, like we all have the power to help support and heal.
Yeah.
And so understanding what that looks like, particularly in a country like this, if we're in a different country, we may know exactly what the herbs look like, and the trees and the bark and so on and so on. But here, that is something that is becoming more widely acceptable, and not only more widely acceptable, but also more costly. Yeah. You have a lot of corporations who are now heavily engaged in what they call holistic health and natural medicine, and that's okay. But it's our role as human beings to empower ourselves to heal. And so understanding that the more we become in tune, the more we come in tune with what it is that we need to support us. So if that's people, if that's plant medicine, if that's energy, so it's like it's our job, it's our role as human beings to tune this machine up. So that we can get the messages and the people and the signals. Yeah. So the frequency that we need, because the natural state of being is wellness.
That's a bar. The natural state of being is wellness. Wow. That's, and I personally can align myself with that idea, because it doesn't feel right to be stressed. It doesn't feel right to have anxiety, but it seems like our body is so good at adapting that we adapt to those stresses and make it kind of our norm. So even coming outside of that and trying, because even now I'm in the space where I'm thinking wellness. I'm thinking, how do I live a more holistic life where I'm not just focused on eating all right, but also I'm still, or not focused just only on working out, but I'm still eating not so great stuff, and I'm still putting out not so great energy out into the world, and I'm still not caring for myself. How do I live and pour into myself so I can pour into the people that I love? And that is where I think we all hope and strive to be, but it seems so far in our reach in many cases.
Well, this is our lesson. That's why we're here on this planet. That's part of the lesson. Because if we knew all of that, neither you nor I would be here. So we will have our challenges and we will have our struggles. And that is part of what makes us human. But most importantly, understand that those challenges and struggles are bringing us closer to where we need to be.
Beautiful. Okay. All right. So we're going to take a quick pivot, okay? So
Back to plants.
Back to plants, because it was getting deep. I was about to start tearing up. But speaking about where we need to be and kind of wellness, right? You're in a space, we're in your shop. Like, we're in your place of business. You're in, I think, a space where a lot of us entrepreneurs or beginner entrepreneurs, hustlers, whatever, a space where we really strive to be, to have a physical space that we manifested from our brains, from our spirit, and be able to share that with the world. How does that feel to have that thing within you that wants to share and help the community with wellness, and be able to have a physical space that people can come and you can serve them? How does that feel?
That's an interesting question, because after serving the business to business community for over 20 some odd years, this is definitely a different space, because even this space where we are right now was not supposed to be a retail or a business to consumer. This actually was supposed to just only be our showroom, with having all of our brands so that our retail and business customers could come in. We like this, we like that, we'll order this, we'll order that.
To be clear, when you say showroom, in terms of what type of business are you talking about? Still plants?
For green dandelion marketing and sales. Yeah. So one of the things that we do with green dandelion marketing and sales is that we support and market brands throughout the world. So we've worked with brands from Togo to Vancouver to just really
these are countries.
Yeah.
Light flex. But.
Right. So we work with these brands to help market them and support them in places like natural retailers, Whole Foods, Wegmans, Sprouts, Moms, and things like that. And so we've introduced at this point over 3,000 different brands.
Wow.
Where retailers can sell and consumers can go in and purchase. Wow. And so we vet these brands, and many of these brands are really a mirror of our lifestyle. And so we don't work with anything that we don't use ourselves. Wow. And so we really want to make sure that they're organic, they're fair trade, they're sustainable, that these are really good family owned, or they have some type of characteristic that say, oh, I want this. And so those brands were actually supposed to be lining the walls of this space. And so COVID happened and the market almost shut down. It was like, well, what else can we do with this space that we're looking at renting?
Sure.
Aha, a plant shop.
That makes sense.
We'll have a plant shop. And so that's how it was that we squeezed all of these plants and products into this tiny 500 square foot space.
I tell you guys, it is like walking in here, the air is different.
Yes.
I mean, these plants are really, really, really giving off what it is that you need in terms of wellness. Just straight out, straight walking into the door, and they're so compactly positioned in here as well that you can really, really feel it when you walk in here. It's really, really, it's a great experience. Blue, when you walked in, you was like, oh my God, what?
And I peeked in here from outside.
So this was supposed to be the showroom, but then just by kind of the universe aligning, it was like, wait, there's another opportunity here. And you still offer the wellness product. So it's kind of like a 2-for-1 deal in a way.
Yeah, it is kind of that two for one. And so getting back to your original question, like what is this like?
Yeah.
It's still scary. It because sometimes we're here and we don't know if people are going to come in or not. It's still exciting because we meet so many new people who we probably would not have crossed paths with before.
Wow.
Like yourself.
Like myself.
You know, and so so we really are in a place of growth. I mean, everything, like I said, the challenges are good because the challenges help us to kind of like shift and pivot and
Maneuver
yeah,
and learn.
because at the end of the day, like we want to be here, not only just here, but we want to expand. We want to be in other communities just like this, where people are being underserved, where people just can't walk down the street or around the corner and go into a brick and mortar and purchase really nice quality things. I don't know if you've been in some of these neighborhoods lately and tried to shop. Half of the stuff is made in a foreign country. Half of the stuff is yeah, no shade. Half of the stuff is like cheaply made. The options are limited.
I gotta do better.
Yeah, the options are limited, and then it's like, would you buy this for your family?
Wow.
And I just like wonder, because it's not a pleasant shopping experience. And so here we want people to have that pleasant shopping experience. Like, oh, we call the customers who come in, we call them guests. We call them guests. Like, what do you know, we treat them like we would treat any guest who would be coming to our home.
Your home, yeah. That feeling must be nice, man. To be able to grow and to be in a space that like you can have steady growth. You know what I mean? And be able to do the things that you kind of like, I would say personally, kind of like born to do, like your position to do from your heritage and your mothers and your partner and all the different things that align to make who you are, kind of positioned you perfectly to do and serve and offer the things that you offer, which I think is really, really beautiful. And I'm really also excited about the fact that I get to connect with somebody like yourself, to be able to have a space where I can walk in, see somebody like myself who love the things that I love, even greater things, to be able to have the wisdom, the knowledge, and to share with me, a younger person who wants to learn. I think that's the beauty of it all, is to be able to have a space for positive growth, really. And in terms of that specific point, in terms of having a space of positive growth, you have allowed me to learn from you. And you've allowed me to kind of like come into your space and be a part of it. And that, I'm really, really grateful. Like, honestly, I started this platform to do just that, to connect the dots with people who are similar to myself. I mean, come into a newer space, and I'm sure a lot of you guys watching also can agree, when you're walking into something newer that you're creating, as you're actively creating it, is very scary. And is a very lonely place. I'm sure you probably experienced that once or twice in your life.
Mm-hmm.
So to be able to have someone who aligns with that, and can help you see the picture a little bit more clearer, it feels really good. It feels really, really good.
Oh, that's sweet.
Yes, it feels really good. But even on that note, me coming into this space and her being here, it's kind of a big deal. I know we've been playing it cool, but this is kind of a big deal. Okay? So today, we're not just employing people not only to interview this beautiful woman in her beautiful shop, we're also going to share with you guys something that we've been working on, and is a partnership. It's a partnership between Plant People in Georgia the Garden, the Community Garden, because my goal with this platform is to create a space that is fully engulfing, when you watch it, I want you to not only be tuned into what we're saying. I want you to look at the plants. I want you to feel like you're a part of this. So I started it in my home, but the goal was to step outside of my home and be a part of the community. And Miss Sharon has allowed me to do that here. So thank you. But what made you say I'm going to give this ball? Because at the time I was bald headed. What made you say I'm going to give this kid a shot?
Yeah, no, it's key, and it's so important that in life and in business, we have someone to share this with and to pass the baton on to. Because so many people talk about, oh, young people this, they don't show up to work on time. They're irresponsible. They're lazy. They're this, they're that. That's all you hear. But of these people, who has actually set aside time to say to some of these young people, you should think about doing this, or here's a suggestion here. Let's do this. Because if we don't do that, if we're just expecting them to be at this level all the time when you meet them, unfortunately, we're not going to get very far. So it's a two-way street. We need each other. We need, as older entrepreneurs, we need young people to come in and help fuel the fire. And as young people, you need us to help with that knowledge base and that experience, like the foundation. Because I see there's so many businesses. Actually, I think it was just about 2 weeks ago, we passed by a shopping center and saw a new business, and the next time we passed by, that business was closed.
Oh my gosh.
So I don't even know what the span was, but it hadn't been there for years. Yeah. And so this attrition of businesses closing, why are they closing? And just because you went to school for an MBA or you went to school for business,
you know what you're doing.
No, exactly. It doesn't, because there's so much more in it that many of these books don't talk about. Many of these courses don't talk about. Being ethical. Everybody should have an ethics class. Like just being ethical. Again,
especially in business.
Right. Again, it's really about, centering and just really trying to help find the purpose. Because the more that you're aiming for that goal, the closer you're going to be to help support not only yourself, your family, but your whole entire community. Because if one person is just doing well living on the hill and everybody else is living in the valley, guess what? They're always going to be looking up at that hill.
Yeah,
okay?
100%.
So we're going to need to kind of like level that hill so everybody can eat. Because we can all do that. And part of us getting to that level is just simply sharing. Sometimes it's simply smiling. Simply saying how you feeling, good morning, good afternoon. It's just being human.
Yeah.
It's just being human. And I remember, I'm originally from Memphis. And when I moved to Philadelphia, I would get on and off of the bus by saying, hi, just like this. Hi.
I know you're crazy when you do
Hi. And people they would look at me like I was crazy. And then I got it. And I was like, oh, I won't be speaking to people anymore.
Wow.
And then when I had children, I was like, oh, I can't let them take my humanity out of me. I can't let them do that. And so then I was like, okay, no, we're going to have to rewind and now start teaching these people how to speak.
Honestly, gotta teach them. These communities will turn you so cold and close yourself off.
Mm-hmm.
So to have that positive thing within you is important to share it. It's so important. Like you said, just ask somebody or just saying good morning to someone, smiling at someone. transferring some positivity to their day, and that may be the only positive thing that they get in their day because of all that.
Week. It may be the whole month.
Maybe.
Just last night, I saw a lady at 30th Street Station. She was probably unhoused because she had like a whole bunch of, bags but this lady was fly. She had on her sequins
that stuff
hat, her sequins pants. She had on about 3 or 4 layers of clothes, and she had these sequins eyelashes.
She knew what she was doing. Stop.
And so after being in the post office, this time of year is along to walk around her and all her stuff. So after I checked out, got my Kwanzaa stamps, I turned around and I said, I really like your eyelashes. And she was like, thank you, baby. And she started scribbling. And she was like, here's my number. I'll give you the recipe. But nobody out of all those people in that long line acknowledged her. I mean, she was taking up a lot of space, so I don't see how you couldn't see her. Nobody said anything to her. But granted, her sequence eyelashes were fly. Right. So I had to say something. And sometimes, again, that's all it takes. And she gave me her number. I'm gonna call her just to say hi. What's that recipe?
Yeah. She'll love that.
Right. I think she would.
It just takes a couple seconds. It just takes a couple seconds to share positivity and love and respect. And you have so much light within you, Ms. Sharon. I think this community is blessed to have you. I think Philadelphia, you moving to Philly, look, if you were still in Memphis, I probably wouldn't have known you.
No.
So you moved.
I wouldn't have known me.
You probably would have been someone completely different. So if you haven't heard it enough, we do appreciate you. We appreciate you being in this community. We appreciate you being in the city and doing the things that you're doing. Everything from owning this plant shops to workshops that you do to events that you put on, like the Cannabis Week. Cannabis Week?
Black Cannabis Week.
Week. The different things that you do to not just serve yourself, but to serve other people. That light that you're sharing is really, really well received. Well received. So, on behalf of myself and the Community Garden, thank you. I mean it from like the bottom of my heart. Thank you. It means a lot to all of us.
Well, thank you.
So before we go, is there a space that you see your company, this or Dandelion, Green Dandelion, that you see? It doesn't have to be within a time frame. Where is it that you see this in X amount of time?
Yeah, so in X amount of time, I definitely see a planning people in at least one underserved location throughout the city. City Hall divides the city north, south, east, and west. Sure. And so I see a plant and people being in each one of those north, south, east, and west. And even there being able to have multiples. I see our our brand. I mean, I know we kind of use that word lightly, brand, but we're more than a t-shirt. We're more than just having a logo and a t-shirt. We do a lot of work, and part of our mission and goal is just really to have a plant in every home. And so if that's a medicinal plant, if that is an ornamental plant, a tropical plant, a plant that you can actually eat, we want to help people in the city of Philadelphia to become in tune where they can actually take care of a plant, nourish a plant, and see that plant grow. And so being able to do that, it's going to take a lot of work. But most importantly, I see being able to just be an example. The social impact is so important, like what it is that we leave behind. We want to make sure that as we exit this world, this planet, we're leaving enough behind that it will continue to grow. If that's people, if that's plants, we want to make sure that it continues to grow. So wherever we are,
Yes.
we're going to be dropping, you know,
Seeds.
either seeds everywhere. If that's seeds of knowledge or seeds of plants, we're dropping it everywhere.
Seeds of knowledge or seeds of plants.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, yes, yes. Thank you guys for tuning in, Miss Sharon. Thank you for sharing your seeds with us and nurturing us. Honestly, you're nurturing us in all that you do. And even just the thought process of knowing that there's a space for you to fill. Thank you.
Yes,
all right?
thank you.
Community, thank you again for tuning in. Okay, until next time, God bless.